Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. I trust you're looking forward to Christmas, like we all are. Break. The town outside my window is slowing down. The roads there isn't so much traffic on the roads, and it's a really holiday mood. Nairobi is actually very pleasant this time of year because everyone departs, and it makes getting around much simpler and do many things. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm going to go to the national park, take my brother, my daughter, and my nephew and niece. I was at the Norfolk yesterday for a meeting, and I saw this display by G.H. Mum, and I thought I'd use that for my Christmas wishes. Happy Christmas, everyone, and may it be one full of champagne. Macro thoughts: Bitcoin has jumped above $900 on geopolitical risks. It's become the new gold. And then an interesting tweet from Joe Wiesenthal. Here's a chart of Uranium Resources Inc. Try spotting the moment Trump tweeted about our nuclear arsenal. And then just staying with money, there's a very interesting piece on Bloomberg, The Year in Money. It's been an incredible and extraordinary year, hasn't it, really? Tiger Woods, Christmas tradition that my kids love. Mac Daddy Santa is back, he says. Pretty arresting photograph, I thought. Kenya picks clear skies over Lake Turkana. It's going to be a beautiful Christmas weekend, surely is. Go and have a look at this link from kim.com. I'm not done, I've just begun. 2017, here I come. And I thought to myself, wow, that's right, isn't it? That's the way to look at things. I'm not done, I've just begun. 2017, here I come. Muhammad Ali hugs Pele at his goodbye match. He said, my friend, now there are two of the greatest. 1977. Then I went back to a quote of President Obama in the New Yorker: I don't believe in apocalyptic until the apocalypse comes. I think nothing is the end of the world until the end of the world. I was at the Muthaiga club taking the young kids for a swim, and this is what it looked like in the swimming pool as the evening fell and the evening was spread out against the sky. And Beryl Markham, Westward the Night, wrote this in 1942. Its broad lounge, its bar, its dining room, none so elaborately furnished as to make a rough-handed hunter pause at its door, nor yet dowdy as to make a diamond pendant swing ill at ease, were rooms in which the people who made Africa I knew danced and talked and laughed hour after hour. Evakatrina, who's a friend of mine for many years on Twitter, was in Moscow, now she's in London, and she sent this tweet: hello Ali Khan, it's lovely in London. And she was about 100 meters from where I went to school, and then took another photograph. She must have been, I think, on that machine that takes you up. I love this city, she tweeted. The London Eye. This is Nairobi by Truth Slinger. He really is a really good photographer, I must say. Christina Day, freedom comes in many forms. Indeed it does. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton never figured out why she was running. I think that's an important point as well as the point about digital interference that I've been making. You know, we have a deviate Tomahawk, the specialist in monitoring data on his mission console when a voice breaks in, a voice that carried with it strange and unspecifiable poignancy. He checks in with his flight dynamics and conceptual paradigm officers at Colorado Command. We have a deviate Tomahawk. We copy, there's a voice. We have gross oscillation here. There's some interference. I've gone redundant, but I'm not sure it's helping. We are clearing an outframe to locate source. Thank you, Colorado. It is probably just selective noise. You are negative red on the step function quad. It was a voice, I told them. We have just received an affirm on selective noise. We will correct Tomahawk. In the meantime, advise you to stay redundant. The voice, in contrast to Colorado's metallic pidgin, is a mélange of repartee, laughter, and song, with a quality of purest, sweetest sadness. Somehow we're picking up signals from radio programs of 40, 50, 60 years ago. I have no doubt that Putin ran a seriously 21st century, predominantly digital program of interference, which amplified the Trump candidacy. And of course, Trump was an ideal candidate for this kind of support. He's a linguistic warfare specialist. Stupid, crazy, idiot Duterte slams UN official for urging murder investigations be launched against him. It's an extraordinary situation when your president admits going around basically looking for trouble and then shooting people. The traditional incumbent re-election bias is at a historic low, and the ground is fast shifting beneath the feet of the political establishment. And that's an important point in Africa that people are missing. 12th of December, I said elections from President Buhari of Nigeria through President-elect Barrow in the Gambia through Akufo-Addo of Ghana, surely signalling a trend change is at hand. The demographic bulge is now arriving at voting age. It is at that moment its importance cannot be gainsaid. Peter Navarro, a prominent China hawk, was called Beijing the planet's most efficient assassin and a totally totalitarian state, of course, has been put in charge of US-China trade. Sputnik, Russia stronger than any potential aggressor, says Putin. I think that just agrees with what I wrote when I was writing about Putin's parabolic rebound. Interesting point from Shoigu, who is the defense minister. The chain of color revolution spreading across the Middle East and Africa has been broken. Russian airstrikes in Syria have killed 35,000 rebel fighters and succeeded in halting a chain of revolutions in the Middle East, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said on Thursday. We are now stronger than any potential aggressor, President Putin said at the same event. The chain of color revolution spreading across the Middle East and Africa has been broken. And that's the point I made on the 19th of December when I said Aleppo is where the regime change agenda was stopped in its tracks. This is the first and overarching point. Put out a photograph of Shoigu holding negotiations with his Iranian counterpart, Hossein Denka. And it is a victory for Russia, for Iran, and for Hezbollah as well. Vladimir Putin has a new strongman in Libya. Where doesn't he have a new strongman? Geert Wilders' political revolution is brewing in Europe, he says. And a couple of days ago he tweeted this of Angela Merkel without a single word. And at this moment, President Putin has Fortress Europe surrounded, in my view. 12th of January, when we had the attack on the streets in Paris, now we're seeing it happen again in Germany, I wrote, the arrival of the asymmetric threat on the streets of Paris was deeply unsettling and will surely keep Europe off balance, presages a new normal. This was the Kouachi brothers who were abandoned by their Algerian-born parents and brought up in a children's home in Brittany. And I said, we can all understand the language of the media, such the Kouachi brothers and Ahmed Koulibaly and his crossbow-toting partner Hayat Boumeddiene were so proficient at taking over the world's attention. And we see a repeat of this. That's why they keep on the run, because they know we're going to be following the story. But where is Hayat Boumeddiene? She's never turned up again. Berlin truck attacker was no lone wolf, German authorities say. Germany's most wanted jihadist will spend his 24th birthday on the run. Anis Amri, who turns 24 on Thursday, was named on Wednesday as the lead suspect in Monday's deadly attack on a Berlin Christmas market. He was reportedly identified from official documents left behind in the truck's cab. German authorities also say that the Tunisian man had ties to a notorious group of local ISIS sympathizers led by a man named Abu Wallah, who was arrested in November alongside 4 others accused of operating an ISIS recruitment network. Der Spiegel, citing local officials, said that Amri and Abu Wallah were in regular contact. If that's the case, what first was considered to be a lone wolf attack in Germany, the first successful terrorist operation there since 9/11 attacks, could instead be the work of an ISIS cell. Abu Wallah has an app, a Facebook page devoted to the Sheikh, featuring videos of him sermonizing in German and Arabic, has 25,000 followers. Only ever photographed or filmed from behind and dressed in a hooded black cloak, he is known popularly as the preacher without a face. And going back to this fellow Anis Amri and the Kouachis and Sarnaevs, I go back to Albert Camus, the Byronic hero incapable of love, or capable only of an impossible love, suffers endlessly. Think of someone like the Boston bomber, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, in this photograph from the Rolling Stone. Put it a different way, there are surely many brothers Tsarnaev in this new 21st century of ours. The long tail in a population of 7 billion is not an insignificant absolute number. Going back to Albert Camus, he is solitary, languid, his condition exhausting. If he wants to feel alive, it must be in the terrible exaltation of a brief and destructive action. "We die in Aleppo, you die here," shouted the assassin while shooting the Russian ambassador in Ankara. Matters geopolitical via Kenneth Roth. Look at where people have voted, particularly the ones outside the majority. Donald Trump, someone incorrectly stated the phrase "drain the swamp" was no longer being used by me. Actually, we will always be trying to DTS, he says. And then a fellow called Pour Me Coffee tweeted real to Donald Trump, "Say the name," and tweeted this photograph, really a good one. Couple kicked off flight with Ivanka Trump after man expresses displeasure over Donald Trump. Oh, brouhaha about that. The signal in all the noise was this: Ivanka flies jet blue. That's a good point and a clever way of getting that point across. Ukraine, which seems to be, I think, about to be thrown under a bus by the US and its partners in the rapprochement with Russia. This is a photograph from a radio station in the Ukraine. Let's move on to the currency markets. Euro dollar 104.42, dollar index back above 103, 103.04. Japanese yen 117.44, Swiss franc 102.56. The pound 122.64. It's sort of been drifting lower for a while and late, I must say. Aussie dollar 0.7214, Indian rupee 67.875, South Korean won 1203.80. The Rial 328.76, the Egyptian pound at 19, and the Rand at 14. Dollar index 103.03, my target is 110, but it feels as if we need some small correction in order to flush out the longs, get it going again. Sterling 122.87, I think it might retreat a little more, but I'm looking for as high as 140 Q4 2017. Gold, I'll put up a one-year chart of that, we're at 1131. Look, I've got a triple-digit target in 2017. Crude oil, I'll also put up a one-year chart, last trading at $52.63 in New York. I think 60 will cap it all year. Emerging markets, Saudi Arabia says its budget deficit will fall in 2017, even with an increase in spending, not likely. Africa Confidential, he is a devoted loyalist to the current President Dos Santos. This is the new appointment and right-hand man, Lourenco, being appointed in power in Angola. President Dos Santos ruled for 37 years. Mapping the Congo crisis, take a look at this, giving you an idea of where the incidents have happened and what's happened. There have been negotiations with the Catholic Church bishops, and they're saying there has been an agreement and it should be signed tonight. So let's see what happens there, because make no mistake, although there's been a show of force in the streets of Kinshasa, you should consider that the biker president sitting in the presidential palace in Kinshasa is actually hanging on by his fingertips and without a strategy of how to get out of it. San Kasaka tweeted this photograph of Congo crisis. Opposition parties prosper as Zuma albatross cripples the ANC. Walter J. Lindner, who was the German ambassador to Nairobi, tweeted this, Johannesburg Live. South African oil share down 1.7% this year, dollar rand at 14, the figure, which was in the middle of the trading range. Egyptian pound strengthened after that big sell-off back at 19. Nigerian oil share down 7.6% this year. Akufo-Addo saying all the right things, my government will not compete with the private sector. And I tweeted that right there is policy-making genius. Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index is down 16.62% this year. Hydroelectricity, Ethiopia opens Africa's tallest and most controversial dam. Sub-Saharan Africa's largest mass housing program, its first metro, its biggest army. Ethiopia's government likes to deal in superlatives. Last week, the ruling Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, EPRDF, added another to the list of the tallest dam. GMA3 alone is expected to generate as much electricity as currently produced by the whole of Kenya. Kenya has enthusiastically signed up to buy some of its power. The export earnings will help to plug Ethiopia's gaping current account deficit, while the cheap power will provide a timely fillip to its nascent manufacturing sector. The government does need to, however, change tack and effect a course correction, in my view. That is one of the most difficult things to pull off. Ethiopia's government has announced the release of 9,800 people who were detained for their participation in anti-government protests. This is Human Rights Watch. But they represent fewer than half of the 24,000 detained since the countrywide state of emergency began on October 9. Africa's new generation of innovators, very interesting article in HBR. Why do so many multinationals, and it's worth reading in full, why do so many multinationals run up against long-standing obstacles to success in developing markets, whereas other MNCs and local entrepreneurs succeed? We believe the answer lies in the difference between push and pull investment. Push strategies are driven by the priorities of their originators and generate solutions that are imposed on markets and consumers. Pull strategies respond to needs represented in the struggles of everyday consumers. The difference in outcomes could not be starker. Perhaps the most beloved consumer product in Nigeria is also one of the humblest, Indomie instant noodles, sold in single-serving packets for the equivalent of less than 20 US cents. The brand enjoys near-universal name recognition. Will Trump hurt or help East Africa's industrialization? This is Charles Robertson of Renaissance. It is not American jobs that are at risk from East African success. It is Asian jobs that may now move to East Africa, along with the investment capital to kickstart the industrialization story. American voters fear the best is behind them, but our research shows that East Africa's best years are surely ahead. That's on Rich Wrap-Ups. If you're interested, I spoke about Kenya and East Africa being on the up as the rest of Sub-Saharan Africa slumps in February this year. The link is there as well. When they showed Mount Kenya on planet Earth, this is from Hex Heisey. It's a great video, take a look. I'll post a photograph of Mount Kenya in the morning as we were flying past it, and another one of the peaks of Mount Kenya seen from the slopes of Fairmont, Mount Kenya. mysterious green light that somehow had infected my photograph. That takes me back to Gatsby. And as I sat there brooding on the old unknown world, I thought of Gatsby's wonder when he first picked out the green light at the end of Daisy's dock. He had come a long way to this blue lawn, and his dream must have seemed so close that he could hardly fail to grasp it. He did not know that it was already behind him, somewhere back in that vast obscurity, beyond the city, where the dark fields of the Republic rolled on under the night. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgiastic future that year by year recedes before us. It eluded us then, but that's no matter. Tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms further, and one fine morning, so we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Put up a photograph of the great Gatsby, Scott Fitzgerald. President Kenyatta officially launches the Volkswagen production line in Thika. Volkswagen have come to both Kenya and to Rwanda. The Honourable Aden Duale has accused the High Court Judge Odunga of what he said was playing tribal politics and being partisan. There's been a huge hullabaloo. The Law Society has condemned Honourable Aden Duale's outbursts, and the Chief Justice Muthaiga has issued a statement as well. All of that is on the website. Of 57 deep-sea fishing licenses issued in Kenya this year, only one went to a vessel flying the Kenyan flag. On that note, I'll put up that photograph I like of Ali the navigator who took us to Wasini Island, Kenya shilling 102.275. Nairobi all share down 9.38% this year, up 0.98% yesterday. NSE 20 down 23.11% this year, but up 1.06% yesterday. I wish you all a very happy Christmas, a merry one as well. Good times with your family, and generally good times all round.